I treat every first match meetup as really genuine a meetup. I don't expect to go out as a first date in a way. I don't expect to be showered with gifts of flowers or like fancy 5-star dining places.
So it's more of like the effort, of showing up, being present, and also understanding. I mean, because we've had conversations, right, before this, understanding what that person actually likes. I think that would be like a super plus point for me.
Are young people breaking up with dating apps? And if we're not on Team Swipe, is it game over on the romantic front? Welcome back to The Usual Place. I'm your host, Natasha, and with me today I have 3 guests, all under 30, and all have very different experiences with dating apps and dating in general, right? So let's get them to introduce themselves. I'll start with John. John, you're not on any dating apps at all.
Yeah, so I used them for 3 weeks before quitting for good and then moving on to like blind matchmaking services.
So you actually pay for these services to get them to match you with someone?
Yeah. So every date is like $60 to $80 and I pay for them.
Okay, we'll get into it in a bit. I also had next to you on the couch is Dhareeni, and you're the dating app success story. Tell me a little bit more about that.
So I met my partner on Coffee Meets Bagels, and we've been together for 2.5 years. We are also expecting a house, I would say. Like, we're on the waiting list for a BTO. So I would say, yes, it's a very successful story. Yes.
Okay. And Bernice, you made a very big declaration on TikTok last year because you said that you were done with dating apps.
Yes.
Tell me a little bit more.
So I have been using dating app for a very, very long time, about 6 years since I was I think 21 years old. So it was, you can guess my age already. So yeah, I was very young when I started it off. And eventually I got really jaded, tired from it, and decided to quit. So yeah.
I wanted to find out what is the sense among people under 30 or younger people about dating apps in general. Is it true that there is a sense that people don't want to use dating apps? Dhareeni.
So I think there's a healthy mix. I do have friends who are like actively on dating apps, right? They're like, every day they're swiping and they're trying to get matches. But at the same time, there are friends who are like, I'm off, totally off. I don't believe in dating apps anymore because they're not giving me the matches I want. Yeah.
Okay.
So it's a healthy mix, I would say 50-50.
50-50. Okay.
Yes.
So some like it, some don't.
Yes.
Okay. And Bernice, what about you and your friends?
I think in my circle of friends, most of them do not use dating apps actually.
Oh, that's interesting.
Yeah.
Okay.
So
So how do they meet people?
they mainly meet people in real life, which is, to be honest, I'm very envious of as well. But a lot of people will assume that I'm a very extroverted person, but I'm actually a very introverted person. And somehow when I was 21, and I'm actually Malaysian, so I used to live in Malaysia before I moved to Singapore, I think 4.5 years ago. So back when I was 21, Malaysians tend to have a more conservative culture where dating apps seems to be a deviant thing. It's not a norm to be using dating apps. And I came from my uni mates, my friends were all in a circle of girls. Like, I came from an all-girls school. So my friends are all very, the goody girls. They don't really use dating apps, and we're just that type of people. But eventually, I heard of dating apps, and for me it's like very American culture, dating apps and all that, Tinder. So I was quite skeptical at first, but there was one person from one of my event committees in university. They were telling me I found my partner from Tinder, and I met him within 3 weeks of using the dating app. So I was like,
You were
seems
convinced.
somehow real life doesn't seem to be working out for me. Why not just try out dating apps? So I went and tried it out, and I did meet someone from there, and we had a 2.5 years relationship.
Okay.
So it was good. But I try to convince other of my friends to use it, but
But they're
they just like, no, I don't really want it. I even convinced my brother to try it at that point of time.
Okay.
And my brother was like, no, dating apps is so, dodgy, and like, he was very against it. But eventually he tried it out.
Do you guys agree with Bernice that there's like not agree, well, your brother,
Hmm.
do you agree with her brother that there's a dodge factor, or, yeah, I don't know, John, because you get the guy perspective on the couch. So
Yeah.
women are dodgy.
As in, what do you mean by dodgy? Dodgy. Dodgy.
In a sense that like a very stereotypical mindset is that dating apps is just for short-term dating, not
okay.
for looking for serious relationship. Everyone's just going it for a fling, for
Yeah.
fun, here for a short time, not for a long time,
yeah.
for a
Here
fun
for a
time,
good
all
time.
that. Yeah, for a
Not for a
good
good time,
time.
yeah, not for a
Yeah,
long
something
time,
like
yeah.
that.
Yeah.
So my brother always swore off dating apps back then.
So it's hard. What you're saying is that it's harder for people who are looking for something long term to
yes.
invest the time and effort into it, right?
Yes,
Okay.
but eventually some people do like try it
fine.
out for the sake of like just taking the chance and using it, having no regrets. But there are still people till this day, some of my friends, they really just do not want to use it at all.
Okay. John, you
Yeah.
3 weeks on
Yeah,
it,
yeah,
and
yeah,
you're
yeah.
like, no.
Yeah. It was a really bad experience. I think remember like one date that I met, she told me she was going for 4 dates a week. And I just quickly calculated like that was like 64 dates over 4 months. And I just felt like a piece of meat, like
You were rotated to the
yeah. Like a piece of meat, like hung on a butcher's hook, and then she's like swiping, and I think that kind of felt quite dehumanizing. And
But did you have a good date with her? Was it a good date? Like, did you have conversation? Did you click on anything?
Yeah. It was good, but I think it came to a point where when you want to progress, then you start thinking, oh, actually, this person actually has other options, so you just feel like another option on the shelf. Yeah.
That's the saddest thing.
Which is
Okay.
the truth.
Yeah, no, I can
Yeah.
totally understand it. And I guess this is the one thing about dating apps that you didn't like. Is that because everybody's looking for the next best option? Is that what it is?
At the slight hint that there's some tension in the relationship, then they ghost you, they move on, because there's always the illusion of choice. Like on Coffee Meets Bagel, you always have 20 bagels every day. Like why stick with a bagel that has some problems if there are 19 other bagels for you, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, well, you were on Coffee Meets Bagel. Were you on
Yes.
any other, Dhareeni, were you on any other apps at the time?
So my first dating app was actually Tinder.
Okay.
And that was like really the starting. So
Okay.
I kind of deviated from that because I realized it was getting a bit trashy. And people were looking for like short-term relationships.
Okay.
And my biggest thing is I've always told anyone who I was seeing was that I'm dating to marry.
Okay.
Yeah. So my goal has always been the fact that I want to find a forever partner rather than
Yeah.
a short-term thing. So to me, that's why like Tinder was not the option. And then I went on to Bumble. Bumble was all right. Like you have a healthy mix of
Yeah.
people wanting relationships and all. But I think the one that really solidified was Coffee Meets Bagels because people were actually serious on those
Okay.
apps. Yeah. People were like, hey, actually, I do want a potential partner as well. So that was something that made me stick on Coffee Meets Bagel a lot more than the other apps. Yeah.
I'm curious to find out, did you get less matches because you were serious? This was your philosophy. I want to be married. Not I want to be, but I'm looking to marry someone.
But the funny thing is, even if I explicitly said that I'm dating to marry, you still get matches who are asking for short-term relationships.
So
or
what did they
flings.
say?
So they're like, oh, how would you know if I'm the right one? We got to try it out. And I'm like, no. And it's usually because I match with people based on maybe their answers to personality
Yeah.
questions. And, if I feel like, hey, I would at least want them to be a friend, then I match. But then ultimately, at the end of the day, when they're like kind of pushing the boundaries, I'm like,
Yeah.
no, it stops here. No, I don't appreciate
Right.
that. Yeah.
Okay. And Bernice, with you, was there a particular thing that you liked or didn't like about dating apps? I mean, I think I wouldn't want to slam dating app because for me, I think it opens up a lot of possibilities to meet people that I would not have otherwise met. But what's your take, Bernice? Like, do you like or is there something that you like particularly or particularly dislike?
I would say I would stand on a very neutral point, and I will give a the goods and the bad about it. So the good part about it is that if you are an introvert, or if you have problems actually meeting someone or a person that might potentially lead to a relationship in real life, like going on dating apps is a very good option. It opens out another like a window for you to actually try things out. So I would say dating apps gives you the option to actually initiate a conversation with someone without having the awkwardness of like, seeing eye to eye, making eye contact, figuring out how should I put myself together to meet that person, whereas you're just texting in front of a screen. So the pressure is, lesser when it's talking on an app. So
But
it's
do
easier.
you guys like find it hard? Because I get irritated chatting on the app, because if someone asks me like, if I meet someone, if I match with someone, then they're like, hey, how's your day going? And I'm like, what do you want? Why do you care about like, do you guys have that too? Like, do people ask you that when you were on the apps?
You mean like the initial conversation when it
Yeah.
starts it? Oh, I think it's a very basic thing where everyone says, hi, how are you?
Yeah.
That is
Like
my
that's
pet.
how they
basic,
start
yeah.
it. Like
That's-
even girls, when you have to initiate conversation on Bumble, you also have to
Yeah, we're just like,
find
"Hi."
something.
Okay, not
So,
the
yeah.
hi, how are you part that annoys me. It's more of the how was your day? I'm like, but you know nothing about me. Like,
Yeah,
if
just
I
say I'm busy, or like I'm
That's cold.
I'm good, like I'm working, or like just ended work. Like what can I say? Like I don't really have much to tell you
Yeah.
because it's just like the first conversation. So I guess the chances of getting that question is, to be honest, quite minimal.
okay,
Yeah.
yeah. John, you look like you
Yeah.
want to say something. Tell me.
Yeah. I hate those meaningless texts
See,
on
not just
dating
me.
apps. Like, I mean, even my close friends don't ask me like, "How's my day?" And I don't even know you. I've just matched with you.
Yep.
And suddenly you're asking me about my day. Like, um, I think at some point, right, then you come to a real fatigue where you're having like tons of these meaningless conversations 20 times a day, or like however many times you get matched, and it just gets really tiring.
Dhareeni, how did your now current boyfriend speak to you online? Or what was your opening line for each other?
Honestly, I cannot remember, but
Okay.
I know the setting was something where his profile was mentioning about how he's really passionate about animal and animal care, and I was very intrigued because he had a very niche preference. He cared a lot for fishes, and that was
That is
something.
highly unusual.
Yeah, that is
No
very
one says they
unusual.
care for fishes.
Exactly.
I don't know. I don't know.
Exactly. So that kind of got me curious, and I was like, "Hey, I saw your profile, and this is interesting. Can you tell me more
Do
about
you
it?"
like fish?
Yeah, and then kind of it built up from there. Like, oh, he's passionate about fish. He is studying that line, and we just kept hitting it off because I was I was volunteering for animal
Okay.
conservation as well. Yeah.
Okay.
So when I was volunteering for them, and I also get exposed to this scene, so we managed to kind of hit it off.
Right.
Right,
And then
overfish.
overfish.
Yeah,
And the
okay.
funny thing is, another thing that it was on his profile that made me want to reach out was a very cute way of him saying, "I just got out of a long-term relationship," which was something like, I am adopted by the broken-hearted society," or something like that.
Oh, that's quite a good line.
That is so cute, and I was like, okay, this is interesting. This person is interesting, so I want to try talking to this person, and that's how we kind of hit it off really well.
But
Yeah.
how do you know he didn't get that off Google? Like a
That's
nice
the thing.
pickup
I
line.
don't know until now, but it's just that after the initial conversations, we were talking like till 3 a.m., 4 a.m. kind of
Oh,
situation.
nice.
So, because the
Okay.
conversations went like day after day after day, we were like, okay, you know what? This is going somewhere. So, why not take it to the
To the
next
next
level?
level.
Yeah, which is the first date. Yes.
John, I feel you're upset about people copying lines.
Yeah,
are
yeah,
you
yeah,
are you upset about people
Yeah,
copying
yeah.
introductions?
Yeah. I think it's like quite fake, like when you get onto the dating app, immediately it's like you're interviewing the person, like to have in mind them as a potential partner. And I don't think that's a very good way to get to know someone in such a serious interview style. It's like you're interviewing for a potential husband, not like even starting off as good friends, and
Right.
wanting to know the person better.
But what if that's their goal? Like, I'm here to find a husband.
Yeah, I think that is important too. Like you want to find a husband, but I think
Don't get so focused on that. Is that what you're saying?
yeah, like have time to play, like get to know someone in a less serious manner. Yeah. So I just okay, so I think I hate it because every time I sit in front of a new date, it's like I'm being interviewed, like what your life goals. Are you Christian? How serious about Christianity are you? So then it
You
becomes
get very
like,
stressed.
yeah. I feel like immediately I'm being put through a test, and I don't think it's like nice to go on this test like weekly.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. But the thing is, if you do it through the dating app, and especially you know how there's different questions that
Yeah,
people
yeah.
ask. So I tend to ask those questions in advance. Like,
Oh.
hey, I saw this on your profile, because I mean they put it there for a reason. So like, what are your thoughts on this? And so when it comes out less of an interview and more of like
Yeah.
a conversational
Conversation,
thing,
right.
yeah, I think that's when the pressure kind of fades off. Yeah.
But when you're on these apps and you've been on it you were on it for 6 years, that's a long time. And then with Dhareeni as well. John, we count you out of this question, okay, because you were on it for 3 weeks.
Yeah.
But sorry, before that, Dhareeni, how long were you on the apps?
Okay, before my current partner, I was there for about 4 months ish. But then the thing is, my previous relationships were almost all from dating apps.
Did you get any dating app fatigue? Were you in a way like just going through the motions at some point? Because I know that happens for me as well. It's like sometimes you just like pick up your phone and then you just like swipe just to like see who's on it. But I don't know, what's your take?
Like 6 years, right? So I did take breaks in between because I got really just fed up from it. But because, like I said previously, there is like an addiction. The moment you stop, then if you are feeling a lot of insecurity or a sense of loneliness, you end up trying to go back on it and you try to swipe it again. And that becomes a very continuous process of getting in and out of dating apps. So the strength for you to hold the urge to go back and download the app again is really takes a lot of
yeah.
determination for you to do it. Yeah. So I would say for the previous 6 years when I was on dating app, I have like very minimal determination. I was just constantly having that need and somewhat of an obsession to keep going back. But every time I swipe and I've like developed feelings for a person, but end up that doesn't work out, then I get very tired. And I feel like, why can't I meet the right one? Why isn't this person the right one? Why am I not the success story like other people? Like it's just
So it's just very demoralizing to
yeah.
like keep going back to it as well.
Yeah, but then I still went on back on.
Yeah, I wanted to latch on, right? Because for me, dating apps are a bit like snacks. They keep you filled, but never really satisfied. It's like you move tantalizingly close to your goal of a life partner, but actually you're getting like you're not getting closer or further away. You're just not really moving, and it gives you this illusion, and it doesn't actually help. I think in the long run in getting a life partner, because at the end of the day, at least for me, like dating apps kind of give you this illusion that you're actually progressing in your dating life, but at the end of the day, you might, I mean, where I ended up was this, broken relationships, dates that actually didn't work out. Yeah.
Okay. I've seen a couple of cute things on TikTok that I wanted to ask you about, which is where people shoot their shot. So I've seen one where a girl like slips a piece of paper to someone she sees in a restaurant. And I thought that was very, very, very brave. But we also have a brave person on the couch with us, and that's John, because he's done it before. And I wanted to know, tell us what you did, and then what convinced you to do it.
Yeah, so when I go for networking events, in running a business, then maybe I talk to someone who's interesting, and then at the end of that 1 hour, 2 hour conversation, I will ask, oh, like you're pretty interesting. Can I ask you out for a date? And then like 3 out of 5 gave me their numbers. And none of the dates worked out, but I think it helped me to, grow in terms of my courage in dating. Yeah.
So did they find it strange? Did they know you were asking them out on a date?
Yeah, so I asked them, can I ask you out for a date?
Oh, okay, okay.
Can we exchange numbers? So 3 out of 5 gave, yeah.
Okay, and then you went on the date,
Yeah,
right?
yeah,
And
yeah.
then, but it was just, did you see it as an exercise in trying to, find someone to date long term, or were you, just trying to meet new people and widen your circle? What was the goal there?
Yeah, I genuinely wanted to date them. Yeah, so that's why I asked them out.
Okay, because my question is, you're at a networking event, but you're like, hey, this person could be a potential partner, right? That's
Yeah.
you multitask.
Yeah.
You're like, business or
Kill
love?
many
Yeah.
birds with one stone. Yeah. So
Work-life balance.
Yeah.
Very
It
much
was.
work-life balance.
Would you guys, I mean, I'm extending the question to the two women on the couch. Is that something that, would be okay? If a guy came up to you, not at a networking event in general, or someone asked you out in real life, how would you feel about it?
So for me, because I'm an introvert, this is a huge nightmare because I don't know whether to reject someone or to be
Okay.
like politely accepting it.
Okay.
So I'm usually the kind that will be like, how about text first?
Okay.
And then
But you
because-
would give the guy your number.
Yeah, I would
Okay.
give the guy my number, but it's more like text first so that at least I can gauge whether I like you as a person. Because I mean I understand the concept where you hit it off with someone and you're like, hey, can I have your number? And like to start having you on a date. But then I'm just like, I don't know if I like you yet. So do I wanna, and we're all busy people. We work and we do all of other things. So I'm just like, I want to talk to you first before deciding if it's worth pursuing
Putting
it. Yeah.
Okay. So if I flip that, would you give someone your number? Would you go up to someone and say, hey, call me?
Oh, I would not. That's the nightmare. No, I would not.
So sorry, I need to go back to John and ask him this. Like,
Yeah.
were you nervous? Or were you like, no, this is me, I'm gonna do it?
Yeah. Of course I was nervous, scared, but I think at the end of the day it was a skill that I wanted to build in terms of being able to ask someone out and be able to be courageous about dating.
Okay. Bernice, do you wish someone asked you out in real life? Has it happened ever before?
It happened a few times here as well as a few times overseas because I do a lot of solo traveling as well. So, but because I'm always alone and I've been living alone so long, so whenever I'm out on the streets, I'm always very on high alert of my
Okay.
own safety.
Yeah.
So the moment a stranger
You're like,
approaches me
"Go,
and like,
fend it off."
hey, you're cute, can I have your number? I'm like, are you gonna be a scammer or something? Like that just comes to my mind. I'm just going to be protecting myself. Like I don't know you, but thank you for asking, but I don't think I'm comfortable sharing it. But there was an incident in Singapore where I was just taking an MRT and it's very common of me to just put my earbuds on. I was in the MRT and I was leaving the MRT to head out for a solo date by myself.
Yeah.
So I was heading out and there was this guy who tapped me on my shoulder and I was in shock. So I just was in shock who was tapping me. So I took off my earbuds and I turned around and there was this guy mumbling, which I couldn't hear because I was wearing my
You were
earbuds.
like
So
midway taking out. And
so I was like, he said something, but I couldn't hear it. So I just took it out and he was like, I said, I'm so sorry. Can you repeat what you said? Like, I really genuinely
Oh no, you
didn't
made him
hear
do
it.
it twice.
Yeah, so he asked twice. So he was like, oh, I think you're cute. Like, can I have your number? So I was like, I'm so sorry, but I don't really give out my phone numbers and all that. And he's like, but I really want to know you. Then I felt like every time if I said no, then there wouldn't be a
kind of felt
possibility.
a bit pressure,
yeah.
is it?
But the thing is, I was also thinking like, Singapore is somewhat like my home now, so I don't feel as like scared being in public. So I was like, maybe I could give you like my Telegram instead of my phone number, and we can chat from there. So he was like, okay, I'm okay with like exchanging telegrams. And the moment we exchanged telegrams, he was like saying like, so where you're heading to? I'm like, I kind of lied. I didn't say I was going on a solo date. So
Were you trying to protect yourself?
yeah, I was
first
trying
because
to
you didn't
protect
know him?
myself. Like, I don't really want to go out with a stranger. Like, I already planned my whole solo date, just enjoying my time at a cafe, having my own, like, writing my own journal and all that. So I wanted my own alone time, and I didn't want him to, like, tail me or something. So I was saying, like, oh, I'm going to meet some friends. And he was like, okay, can I join? I'm like,
Oh, wow.
yeah, I'm so sorry, but we are like having a girls' day
Yeah.
and all that. He was like,
Oh, he really
uh,
wanted to
yeah, he
hang out with
really
you.
wanted to hang out. And then he was like, how about drinks tonight? And I'm like, not tonight, not tonight. And maybe not drinks. And he was like, how about tomorrow? I'm like, it's okay. How about we just like text first
okay.
and like see
Did you
where
ever
things
go out with him?
I would say after you hear the rest of the story, you'll know what happened. So I tried to like tell him like no and
Right.
all that, and he was like, okay, all right, I'll text you when I'm home, when you're home. And
Yeah.
somehow I just turned around, I took the escalator up to the platform, to the exit,
Yeah.
and he was already texting me.
Okay.
The
so
moment I
he's
was on the
really
escalator.
fast and he wanted
Yeah, he
to
was just right behind looking at me while I was going up the escalator.
block and delete.
I didn't. It wasn't that bad. So he blocked and deleted me. Yeah. Tables have turned.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
So,
Very interesting.
yeah. So he told me like he was texting me. So while I was going out, he's like, "Nice to meet you, Bernice. I am who like
Yeah.
how about drinks tonight?" And I'm like, I was like, I thought I mentioned that I wasn't into drinks, and he was like, but when would you want to go out with me? And like all this kind of like he's giving me very like hard to answer questions, and I just wanted to like just stop conversation and just enjoy my day. So I just off my phone and I just went off to my own doing my own things, right? And then he started spamming messages. Like he was like, "Why are you not replying me? I'm texting you. Can't you reply me?" And I'm like, didn't I say I'm enjoying my time? Why are you like?
And also, you guys are strangers.
Yes,
You don't owe him anything, and he doesn't
Yes.
need to know anything
Yeah,
about
and
what you're
he's
doing,
like,
right?
"You're a very rude person. I don't think you're a nice person. I should have never asked you for your number." Then he blocked me.
You dodged a bullet.
Yeah, but it was just a very interesting experience. And since then,
You're like, no.
I swear off not giving numbers or anything to anyone anymore.
But would you ask someone out in real life?
I always have the thought of it.
Would you?
Always have the thought of it. Like whenever I go to cafes or anywhere by myself, I always like if I somehow see someone like interesting, I like his vibes, I always feel like, how about I write my number on a tissue and like I just pass it to him while I leave and see where
Happens,
things
yeah.
go, like without even talking to the person, just leave it there and just go off. Like
But you've never done it.
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it takes a lot of courage. So I would
applaud
say
you.
you did a good job.
Has a woman asked you out, John?
No.
Would you mind if a woman asked you out?
Yeah, I don't mind. But
It's
I-
fair game now. Everybody
yeah.
can ask everybody out. All right.
Yeah. But my thing about what you've been talking about on dating apps, right, is that the deeper malice in our society is that, as young adults, we've kind of lost this ability for conversation, right? That everything now needs to be certain, clinical. It's like only if I chat with you, if you're funny, if you give me the right vibes, the right emojis, the right jokes, then I will go out with you. We've lost this ability, right, to actually sit with messy, spontaneous conversations and to be able to work things through, right? So, I think that is why today we are turning to dating apps for this like certainty over this willingness to try and work out like a uncomfortable, messy, spontaneous relationship. I don't mean like short term, but I mean, even when you eventually marry your boyfriend, like there are going to be messy times. Then how are you going to work that out? You can't chat with him over the conflict like when you are married, right? So I think we've kind of lost this ability, and that's quite worrying.
So are you saying that people should give each other more than one chance? Like, don't be so quick to unmatch. Is that what it is? Or
Yeah.
even in real life, when you meet someone you're gonna date,
Yeah.
you should give someone at least 2 or 3 chances.
Yeah. I mean, I'm guilty of this, right? And I think
Which part are you guilty of? The
like
cutting it off after one date.
Yes. I think the best advice I've probably heard is like give a default second, even if you don't feel anything the first. Yeah, and I think it
That's a
work-
lot of time investment. I don't know. Okay, but maybe it's good advice. We should practice it for a month or something.
Yeah. So I did practice that, and I think it's useful. Yeah.
What did you learn out of that?
what I realized is like love is not a performance. Like dating is not a performance. But when I went onto dating apps, it became like a performance where I had to impress the girl, where I had to answer right, and then she was also trying to impress me. And then I kind of realized that, you know, dating or getting a partner is so essential for so many of the Singaporean dream things that we want, like
Yeah.
a house, you know, getting out of our parents' home. And then so you equate like a partner
With
to
getting
like,
all these
yeah,
other
to,
things,
to,
yeah.
to all your life dreams, and there's such a big stake, right? To getting the right one, or like getting attached fast. And love no longer becomes like something playful. It becomes like a performance. Like I need
Something
to,
that you need to do.
yeah, I
so-
need to get like a guy with 6K so that I can afford like a bigger BTO. And at some point in time, it kind of becomes like, oh, why is love becoming this like transactional thing?
Do you find that people are very calculative on the apps? I mean, just throwing it to the women as well.
I think I've seen cases where people are like, I only want to date finance bros, or I only want to date a certain group
6
of
feet
people.
finance, bro.
Yeah,
bro.
or like, oh, they must be 6 feet and taller.
Blue eyes.
Yeah,
trending
those
eyes
on
on
TikTok.
TikTok. Yeah.
So I'm
Yes.
just like, realistically, how are you going to find someone like that in
CBD.
Singapore?
Yeah, the CBD. You gotta hang out there.
And the thing is, you know, if we're really going for these kind of physical traits or,
Mm.
you know, monetary traits or whatever you call it, right? Then how does that guarantee you gonna last with that person?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's just money or it's just
Mm.
looks. But then I feel like at the end of the day, what matters is the personality. Because you've got to be able to hit it off with someone. You've got to be able to like stick with that person no matter what happens. If you're really going to consider a long-term relationship. But I feel like physical looks and money, I don't think these are big enough factors to be considered to be considering someone as a partner. Yeah.
I know we came to this couch because I wanted to ask you all if you're leaving dating apps or where you were at with it. But I also wanted to ask about what happens after you connect with someone from through the dating apps or in real life. I think the concept of dating etiquette. I just want to touch on it a little bit. What do you consider good dating etiquette? Because John, you have said that you're not a great texter. So have you improved through the years of going on on multiple dates? Or are you just like an unapologetic non-texter? You're like, I'll show up at a date and then we'll chat then. Anything before that, I'm not going to give it to you. Is that where you at with that?
Yeah. I think I've tried to improve, but I think in general, when you are already working so much, and then you're kind of expected to text, come up with something witty and funny, it becomes like work, right? So then I'm like, I'm not sure I want to like spend so much effort trying to think of something funny before I've even known you. Are you worth that much effort? Not when I haven't met you, and even after I've met you, maybe I will still not text you that much beyond just like confirming, oh, when are we going to meet again?
Okay. Bernice, I'll start with you first. What's your tip for what's a good dating etiquette for you?
I think there's always this sensitive topic lah. You know, like previously there was like the lau pasa first date thing, right? Yeah, so that was actually a very interesting thing that I wanted to like somehow share my opinions of it lah. Like the funny thing is, when a match asked me where would I want to go, I learned from my experience and I would suggest hawker. Like, cause hawker seems to be one of the places where we don't need to be pressured of who is paying for the bill.
Okay.
Yes, cause there's always this expectation that the guy should pay, and for me, it's like I tend to be a very like independent person in a way lah. Cause
So you'll want to split the bill.
I don't really like saying like how about we split the bill. I don't really like initiating this conversation because I feel like it somehow hurts the guy's ego at the same time. So, and I don't really want to like be the awkward person to do that. And I don't want him to feel like I'm not offering to pay. So like I felt like going to hawkers was a very good way to just like, how about you get some of this and I get some
Right,
of that.
right.
And we'll just go there and pay and we'll bring the food and we'll
So it kind of
share
works
at the
out.
table. Yes.
The math kind of works out. It
Yeah.
balances out, right?
And you don't have the awkwardness of like, hey, how about you pay for that? Whether like, how about you get that food and I'll get this food
And then
we'll
you'll share.
So, and it's also not like, I treat every like first match meetup as really genuine a meetup. I don't expect to go out as a first date in a way. I don't expect to be, showered with gifts or flowers or like fancy 5-star dining places. I don't need that kind of stuff. I just need to have some food or just a cup of drink and have a good conversation. That's all. So hawker is fine for me. But if you don't want to go for the hawker route, you can opt for coffee rather than dinner or lunch because coffee is not as expensive. So when you go for a coffee date, it's just like maybe like I don't know how much is coffee, like maybe $5, $6 around there. And it's not too expensive. And if the date goes well, you can opt
always
for
go to
dinner,
dinner,
or
right?
something
Yeah, or
else.
lunch
But
or
if it
whatever it
doesn't
is.
work out, you'll just say like, oh, my schedule's a bit tight. I gotta go now. Like it's an easy way to just, say
Yeah.
bye, thank you for your day and your time and let it be.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Dhareeni, what's good dating etiquette for you?
Okay, so contrary to Bernice, I prefer a situation where the person shows effort. And I
Okay.
don't mean like, you've got to have the money, you've got to bring me to fancy dining. No, it's just more of like dress nicely.
Okay.
Or like if we're going for a meal, okay, in my case, my partner brought me to Din Tai Fung. Because
Okay.
I told him I have not had Chinese food at that point of time. And he was like, we've got to try it out. So let's go.
Okay.
So it's more of like the effort, of showing up, being present, and also understanding. I mean, because we've had conversations, right,
Yeah.
before this, understanding what that person actually likes. I think that would be like a super plus point for me. That like, oh, okay, this person's actually interested, and in a way, they're actually thoughtful towards what you like.
Yeah.
And I think that's like the highest
Yeah.
standards. Yeah.
I think your answers can combine. I think Bernice is like not trying to put out the date, right? As in not to have the person have like the
Of
guy
course,
be
if
stuck
the
with like a
person
huge bill.
wants to like have a grand gesture, like he
Yeah.
wants to offer to go to a nice restaurant, I wouldn't say no. I'll always say yes if he initiated the
Yeah.
place. If we just didn't have a clue of where to go, I would have suggested like having hawker
Coffee,
food.
yeah, or coffee, right?
Yeah, but normally like I'll let the guy pay for the first meal, but I'll text him or by the end of the day I'll just ask him before I leave. I'll say like, oh, let me know how much the bill is and I'll pay you back my share. Like I would still offer because I have experience going out on a date where the guy paid for everything. And I was thinking of paying for the next meal. Yeah, I was thinking like, how about next meal I'll pay, but I never said it out.
Okay.
So eventually, when we went back, he I think he wanted more than just a date.
Right.
So when I went back and I said my goodbyes, I went back. He texted me and he said like, "Oh, you're such a dude," like something like that.
Oh,
so
he was
like
rude.
he was rude. He was saying like you didn't offer to pay and I got nothing out of it. Like,
Oh,
so
so he paid with an expectation of
Yes.
getting some.
something or like stating that we are now girlfriend and boyfriend on the first date. So I hated that feeling of being forced to do something that I'm not really like into it, and I don't want to give people false hope as well. So
And I think that's why I always offer to split
yes.
because I don't want to owe people something. Although, sometimes they will insist like, okay, no, it's fine. Okay, I wanted to ask you guys about do you think it's more difficult for our generation to date as say compared to your parents where maybe it was just about settling down and building a family, whereas do you think younger people are more picky about who they want in their lives? John?
I think in our modern context and culture, especially because of how fast technology has advanced, I think recently I came to this conclusion that, we want like this illusion of choice, control, and certainty, and our dating apps give that. And today, like I said, we kind of lost the ability to stick through like a messy, spontaneous process of a relationship, and that's why I think yes, culturally, it is difficult, and I think how we've grown up has kind of let us, young adults, kind of lose the skill of, like repairing ruptures in relationships, being able to stick through the messiness of relationships. And I think that's why it's like very difficult today. Yeah.
Dhareeni?
I think, okay, so to be fair, I feel like it's not significantly difficult, but I also feel like because there's so many kinds of relationships, right? It's not just your traditional romantic relationships anymore. You have people who want flings.
There's so many names now. I can't
Yeah,
keep up.
there's like they want flings or they want situationships and different kind of relationships. I think the goal is ultimately with dating apps, what people should actually try to do is actually try to find someone who aligns with what they want. Yeah, because I think at the end of the day, yes, dating app opens you to many people, but at the same time, because you're open to many people, I'm sure you can find one person who's confirmed going to be aligned with you. Yeah, it's just
Harder.
Yeah,
It's just, it might take a while. It
yeah,
might take a while.
it
Not
might take
harder,
a
but
while.
it'll take a while.
Yes, yes.
Through our chat, it's been very lovely. Y'all all sound like dating veterans to me. So my last question, what is one piece of advice you will give to people who are looking for love?
If you had the chance to not use dating app, maybe don't. Maybe find love when you're back at uni or school, where you get to meet more people. I think that's where you get to have more connection, more network, and maybe you meet someone back then.
Dhareeni?
So my literature teacher actually said this to us, and it's just that you've got to kiss many frogs to find your prince. So I think also like with meeting so many different people, ultimately at the end of the day, I found someone. So I believe in that as well. Like, sure, you're gonna have a lot of negative experiences, but I think it comes when you're not expecting it, and that's when you know, like, hey, the relationship is working out. Yeah.
Okay. John, words of wisdom to end us off.
Dating is not a performance.
Got it. Now, despite me being the OG on the app, I was one of the early adopters way back when. I have no game and no luck, so I got no dating advice for y'all. But if you're fed up with dating apps, tell me why and what you're doing about it. Now, if you want to hear the audio version of this episode, you can find us on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or on the ST app. And subscribe to our YouTube channel because then you'll get fresh content. So like, subscribe, and share all the content from the Usual Place podcast. I will catch you again at the next episode.